Yaşamaya dair. Yaşamak şakaya gelmez. Büyük bir ciddiyet yaşayacaksın, bir sincap gibi mesela. Yani yaşamın dışında ve ötesinde hiçbir şey beklemeden. Yani bütün işin gücün yaşamak olacak. Yaşamayı ciddiye alacaksın. Yani o derecede öylesine ki mesela kolların bağlı arkadan, sırtın duvarda yahut kocaman gözlüklerin beyaz bir gömleğinle bir laboratuvarda insanlar için ölebileceksin. İnsanlar, hem de yüzünü bile görmediğin insanlar için, hem de hiç kimse seni buna zorlamamışken, hem de en güzel, en gerçek şeyin yaşamak olduğunu bildiğin halde. Yani öylesine ciddiye alacaksın ki yaşamayı, 70'inde bile mesela zeytin yiyeceksin. Hem de öyle çocuklara falan kalır diye değil, ölmekten korktuğun halde ölüme inanmadığın için, yani yaşamak ağır bastığı için.
Living is no laughing matter. You must live with great seriousness, like a squirrel, for example. I mean, without looking for something beyond and above living. I mean, living must be your whole occupation. Living is no laughing matter. You must take it seriously. So much so, and to such a degree, that, for example, your hands tied behind your back to the wall, or else in a laboratory, in your white coat and safety glasses, you can die for people, even for people whose faces you've never seen. Even though you know living is the most real, the most beautiful thing. I mean, you must take living so seriously that even at 70, for example, you'll plant olive trees. And not for your children either, but because although you fear death, you don't believe it. Because living, I mean, weighs heavier.
Akrep gibisin kardeşim. Korkak bir karanlık içinde akrep gibi. Serçe gibisin kardeşim. Serçenin telaşı içindesin. Midye gibisin kardeşim. Midye gibi kapalı, rahat. Ve sönmüş bir yanardağ ağzı gibi korkunçsun kardeşim. Bir değil, 5 değil, 100 milyonlarlısın maalesef. Koyun gibisin kardeşim. Gocuklu celep kaldırınca sopasını, sürüye katılıverirsin hemen ve adeta mağrur koşarsın salhaneye. Dünyanın en tuhaf mahlukusun yani. Hani şu derya içinde olup deryayı bilmeyen balıktan da rahat. Ve bu dünyada bu zulüm senin sayende ve açsak, yorgunsak, alkan içindeysek eğer ve hala şarabımızı vermek için üzüm gibi eziliyorsak, kabahat senin demeye dilim varmıyor ama kabahatın çoğu senin canım kardeşim.
You're like a scorpion, my brother. You live in cowardly darkness like a scorpion. You're like a sparrow, my brother, always in a sparrow's flutter. You're like a clam, my brother, closed like a clam, content. And you're frightening, my brother, like the mouth of an extinct volcano. Not one, not five, unfortunately, you number millions. You're like a sheep, my brother. When the cloaked drover raises his stick, you quickly join the flock and run, almost proudly, to the slaughterhouse. I mean, you're the strangest creature on earth. Even stranger than the fish that couldn't see the ocean for the water. And the oppression in this world is thanks to you. And if we're hungry, tired, covered with blood, and still being crushed like grapes for our wine, the fault is yours. I can hardly bring myself to say it, but most of the fault, my dear brother, is yours. I've slept in prisons and in grand hotels. I've known hunger, even a hunger strike, and there's almost no food I haven't tasted. At 30, they wanted to hang me. At 48, to give me the Peace Prize, which they did. At 36, I covered 4 square meters of concrete in half a year. At 59, I flew from Prague to Havana in 18 hours. I never saw Lenin. I stood watch at his coffin in 24. In 61, the tomb I visit is his books. They tried to tear me away from my party. It didn't work. Nor was I crushed under falling idols. In 51, I sailed with a young friend into the teeth of death. In 52, I spent 4 months flat on my back with a broken heart, waiting to die. I was jealous of the women I loved. I didn't envy Charlie Chaplin one bit. I deceived my women. I never talked behind my friends' backs. I drank, but not every day. I earned my bread money honestly. What happiness. Out of embarrassment for others, I lied. I lied so as not to hurt someone else, but I also lied for no reason at all. I've ridden in trains, planes, and cars. Most people don't get the chance. I went to the opera. Most people haven't even heard of the opera. And since 21, I haven't gone to the places most people visit, mosques, churches, temples, synagogues, sorcerers, but I've had my coffee grounds read. My writings are published in 30 or 40 languages. In my Turkey, in my Turkish, they're banned. Cancer hasn't caught up with me yet, and nothing says it will. I'll never be a prime minister or anything like that, and I wouldn't want such a life, nor did I go to war or burrow in bomb shelters in the bottom of the night. And I never had to take the road under diving planes, but I fell in love at almost 60. In short, comrades, even if today in Berlin I'm croaking of grief, I can say I've lived like a human being. And who knows how much longer I'll live, what else will happen to me.
Night flowers like a young tree, I blow stately mansions sky high. In the Ilgas woods in 1920, I tied an embroidered linen handkerchief to a pine bough for luck. I never knew I loved roads, even the asphalt kind. Vera's behind the wheel. We're driving from Moscow to the Crimea, Koktebele, formerly Göktepe in Turkish. The two of us inside a closed box. The world flows past on both sides, distant and mute. I was never so close to anyone in my life. Bandits stopped me on the red road between Bolu and Geredia when I was 18. Apart from my life, I didn't have anything in the wagon they could take, and at 18, our lives are what we value most. I've written this somewhere before. Wading through a dark, muddy street, I'm going to the shadow play. Ramazan night, paper lantern leading the way. Maybe nothing like this ever happened. Maybe I read it somewhere. An 8-year-old boy going to the shadow play, Ramazan night in Istanbul, holding his grandfather's hand. His grandfather has on a fez and is wearing the fur coat with a sable collar over his robe, and there's a lantern in the servant's hand.